Hey everybody, how you all doing today? Welcome to the second Tuesday lessons. Today I am in Revelstoke, BC. I've been on tour across Canada, and of course sometimes when I'm on tour it's hard to get these done, so I'm really grateful to be sitting with you today. I have my Risa electric ukulele here and my big giant Black Star Mini 3 amplifier, which is a fantastic amplifier. I picked that up in my UK tour last month. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the blues in F and what you can do to play it in F. And there's a little bit of well, I'm going to say a surprise or a trick that I'm going to share with you to enhance your playing. And it plays in with last video I made, which is about movable chords. So we're going to just put that to a little bit of use. So the first thing we want to know is to play the blues in F, we need to know our F chord, our B flat chord, and our C chord. Those are the chords we're going to need to use. Now, we're going to do a little bit of something different with them, but let's suffice to say just the basics right off the bat. We're just got to do our F, and our shuffle between F is to add our sixth note. Now, when we're playing our F, that sixth note is the second fret of the C string, or a D note. Now, those of you who know your chord theory will know that when I play my F chord, when I add that second fret on the C string, I get a D minor chord, and that's because F and D minor are what are known as relative chords. F is the relative major, and D minor is the relative minor, and they are related. They share 2 out of 3 of the notes to make the chord. So that's the whole point of them. They're interchangeable, and as we've talked about before, that is how the blues uses that to create movement, because the chord is essentially the same but not, so that when you hear someone playing it, it's got this, you hear that shuffle sound because it changes it a little. Now, you could do an open strum like this, or you could do that palm mute strum. What I'm doing is I just have my palm laying on the strings as I use my thumb, and it creates that kind of muted sound, that Jimmy Reed vibe. Sit down. Now, when we do our B flat shuffle, we've got our B flat chord, which for those of you, if you know it, that's great, but if you don't, we're covering the first 2 strings on the first fret, so that's the A string and the E string on the first fret. Our middle finger covers the D note, the second fret on the C string, and our ring finger covers the 3rd note on our G string, the 3rd fret on our G string. So that's an A sharp, and that creates, or the B flat to be specific. That creates our B flat chord, and our shuffle for that, if we're adding a 6th note, is a G note, and we get that on our E string on the 3rd fret. So we use our pinky. So we cover this like this, and we go. That's our shuffle right there. And then we have our C chord, excuse me, or our C7, depending on the progression you're trying to play. Now we're going to do a couple of different things. Oh, and lastly, the turnaround. The turnaround is pretty easy. You put your index finger on the 3rd fret where you would make your C chord. Your pinky goes up to the 6th fret on the E string, and we're going to do a little chromatic run that is using our thumb and our finger between the E and the A string. Go thumb, finger, thumb, thumb, finger, thumb, and all I'm doing is moving that E string down 1 fret each time. So it's 6th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret, and both on the 3rd. That's the C5 chord right there. And then we do a climb up from the 1st fret on the C string. 1, 2, 3. So that's our turnaround. Now the whole progression sounds like this. I'm a stranger here, I just rolled into town. Tell you that lick in a minute. I'm a stranger here, I just rolled into town. Now just because I'm a stranger, people want to dog me around. Now, that lick, by the way, is I'm sliding from the 3rd fret up to the 5th. Then I grab the 3rd fret on the A string, and I come back down. So 3 to 5, 3 on the A, 5, 3, and it's a pull off. 4 on the C string, 2 on the C string, back to our F chord. So it's like, just rolled into town. I'm a stranger here, and I just rolled into town. And just because I'm a stranger, people want to dog me around. Now that's essentially it. Now I know that's a little fast. We'll slow it down and go over it again. But I wanted to talk about a concept that really plays into the movable chords. When we talk about using our B flat chord, this is a movable shape from our last video, you might remember. It can move up the neck as we want. So if I take that B flat and I move it up to the 3rd fret, that's now my C chord. Now I could just go there and do the exact same shuffle that I did on the B flat. And there's nothing wrong with that. So the problem with putting a shuffle on a C chord is that what we need is a B flat note. And that creates our minor second interval. It sounds like this. Hear how horrible that is? And that's because we have this B note here that wants to become a C, or we have this C note here that wants to become a B flat. Anyway, it's a very dissonant sound. Now, a way around that, and this is a trick that I want you to use, is these movable chord shapes. If we make our C chord as a C7, and we do that by barring at the 3rd fret and adding our ring finger on the 4th fret of the C string, that creates a 7 chord. Then if I add my shuffle, which is adding that 6th note, it's no longer a bad sound. Now you're asking yourself, why is that, Hal? That doesn't make any sense to me. It shouldn't work. The reason it works is that it moves that distance away, so that while I'm technically adding that 6th note to a 7 chord, as we say, which we can't do, it's not a direct 7 or 6 to 7 combination. That's not making any sense. Scrap that whole thing. So, one of the tricks that we want to do using our movable chord shapes is we want to use a C7 chord where our 5 chord would be. Now, our blues progression is our F, which is our 1 chord, our B flat, which is our 4 chord, and then C, which is our 5 chord, would be a 7 chord. Now, we're going to use the 3rd fret bar, so you're going to take your index finger, put a bar right across the 3rd fret, and your ring finger, you're going to cover the C string at the 4th fret, and that creates a C7 chord. Now, normally when you shuffle, you don't shuffle on a 7 chord because you get that horrible minor second interval. I don't know if you remember our G7 fiasco, where we want to add our 6th note, pardon me, which is an E, to create our shuffle, and we get this really horrible dissonance. And that's because when we add that 6th note, it's 1/2 step away from the 7th. In the context of this, it doesn't have that same dissonant sound that we get when we're doing a normal 6th and 7th minor second interval like that. And that's because of the distance between this B flat root and this 6th that we're adding, this A note, because now they are in fact more than 1 octave apart, and it makes it a much more pleasing thing to do. So we can do that shuffle, that same B flat shuffle where we're putting our pinky on the 3rd fret there. If we move that up to here, if we move the B flat chord up to C, and we're doing that same shuffle with our pinky on the 5th fret now. If I make this a 7 chord, I'm using that same note, that same 5th, but instead of using my pinky, I'll use my ring finger now, and it'll be like that. And then we can take that down to B flat, which is the 1st fret, and then do that turnaround again. So the concept I'm really trying to illuminate here is that when you have a minor second interval like that, if you stretch it out over a whole octave, so that what you have, instead of 2 notes that are side by side, you have an octave between them, they aren't as displeasurable, and they call it dissonant. They aren't as dissonant as when they're side by side. And it's a way that you can cheat, if you want to call it that, and do things like shuffle on a 7 chord. So let's go back over that blues progression so that you can see it. We're using our F chord here in our first position. We're adding the shuffle on the 2nd fret of the C string. That creates that D minor, so we're going to be doing F and D minor. We go to B flat, and the shuffle is on the 3rd fret of the E string. Back to our F. Now to our C7 chord. B7, and the turnaround. Well, I'm a stranger here, and I just rode into town. Yes, I'm a stranger here, and I just rode into town. Now just because I'm a stranger, people want to dog me around. There you have it, a little simple blues progression in F using some movable chord shapes to cheat and do a shuffle on a 7 chord. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video today on the blues in F and how to shuffle on a 7 chord. I really want to thank you for supporting this channel, and if you're one of my Patreon supporters, a special thank you to you for helping me keep these videos coming for everyone. If you haven't checked out Patreon before, take a look at it. For as little as $1 per video, you get the access to some behind-the-scenes content and tutorials, and you help me keep making these videos free for everyone else. Now, you're completely in control. You can decide how much money to give me or how little to give me per video, and you can change that at any time. All I get is the benefit of your generosity. So thank you very much. And if it doesn't suit you, these videos are going to continue to be free because of the people that are supporting this channel. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all in a couple weeks.